My dad was a lot of things. He was the adopted son of Edna and Dean Prather and a husband of 3 different wives, the father of 3 children, and eventually a grandfather. He was the best at putting, at least one time when he won the state putt-putt championship. He was a good friend to a great group of guys. He was a bowler, and he had some really nice chops. He always cherished his hair, wearing that wilting ponytail until the very end. My dad lived in Fort Wayne his entire life. He really made a difference. He started a program taking small pets to hospitals to visit with sick children. He took even more sick children, those living with terminal and horrible diseases, to the Fort Wayne Children's Zoo, helping them to smile and create memories with their families. He was a hospice volunteer. He hosted support groups for people living with ankylosing spondylitis like him. He had so many articles written about him from so many people, including Doris Buffett, who carried a letter from my dad in her purse until the day she died. My dad lived in Fort Wayne until March of 2023, when we realized that he was approaching the end of his life. It wasn't my favorite day, or my sister's, as you can see by the tears in our eyes. We piled all of his belongings in a trailer. We had him say his goodbyes to his friends, and we drove him straight to the hospital in Indianapolis so that we could be closer to him during this time. He spent 10 days there until he was released, knowing he was dying. We had no clue what to do. Neither my sister nor I could have him move in with our families in our homes. He did not want to die in long-term care. He had no home to go to. He had nothing at the end of his life to allow him to die the way that he wanted. Life happens and things change. I think it's interesting how we sit in moments like this and we hear about services like Abbie Hunt Bryce and we think it's a great service for those people who need it, but it will never, ever be my family. It'll never be your family. It's always for somebody else. I adore Madison and others and Abbie Hunt Bryce, and we've walked this journey with our organization side by side. We've considered each other a safe place for a lot of reasons. As a matter of fact, we had scheduled a meeting months before my dad had moved to Indianapolis at Abbie Hunt Bryce for a new program that Joyce House is launching. It's an end-of-life doula program where we work with people who have received a terminal diagnosis about how they would ideally like to die, how they want to live until that day comes. The meeting was scheduled and held at Abbie Hunt Bryce on April 26th. My dad had just moved in to room 4. It was across the hall from where we held the meeting. That was a surreal day spent talking about death and dying and how to support people in the morning and spend the afternoon. Then I was by my dad's side and watching him move in that very direction. I'm so grateful for Abbie Hunt Bryce. When my dad had no place to keep the things most precious to him, they gave him a room. When everything felt chaotic and ugly, they gave him a stable and clean and inviting place. And when my siblings and I felt like we couldn't take another step, they held us until we could stand. When everyone seemed to pull away from us and pull us away from those moments with our dad, they offered a quiet and loving space just to simply be present. On one of his dying days, my dad asked why he could sometimes say the things he was thinking. He basically said, why is it that I have these thoughts in here and I can't get them out of here? I pulled up a chair. And I said, Dad, I'm going to answer your questions honestly. He closed his eyes and he kind of muttered, okay. And I said, this body is tired. It's done. Your organs are shutting down and your body is dying. And just know that when you're ready to go, we're okay. We're going to be okay. And we know you have your regrets. You've told us and we forgive you. It's all okay. I pulled out my phone and I took this really strange selfie because I wanted to see what my dad saw in that moment. With his head on that pillow in that bed, what did he see? And I said, Dad, can you look at us? We're right here. And your legacy of love and charisma is going to carry through into this world with the 3 of us. Thank you for giving us life. 2 days later, the 3 of us sat by his bed for 45 minutes straight in complete silence, lined up in birth order for some reason, and we watched him until he took his last breath. My dad lived for 74 years in Fort Wayne. I have never felt closer to him than I did for those 5 weeks that he lived at Abbie Hunt Bryce. And for that, we will forever be grateful. I hope that you will join my family and me in supporting Abbie Hunt Bryce throughout the year, because I can tell you that it is an incredible place for families like mine, and maybe for families like yours.